Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, 7th edition, it is here. So let's take a quick look at this and see what we think. So first of all, as I'm sure most of you know, this is basically a box set of 3 books now. Sadly, there was no choice whether you bought this or just the rules. Sadly, but you know, that's the way it is. So let's have a quick look. So taking this off, it's actually a very nice box, really strong and sturdy, which is good. And yeah, obviously, as I said, you've got the rules, which is in one book, which we'll have a quick look in a minute. There's the Dark Millennium book, which effectively is fluff. And I'm really not a fluff bunny, to be honest with you, so a flick like that is probably all I'm going to do with it. The next one is a Galaxy of War, which effectively is about making your armies and stuff, I think. But a little bit of hobby stuff, really. Effectively, it's just some glossy pictures, a few tips and stuff, but again, a flick like that, really, and to be fair, that's me done. Now, having said that, I have actually been offered for somebody to buy these off of me, but even though I'm probably never going to use them, the collector part of me is going to keep them, basically, because I like collecting it as well. So, but yeah, the rules, wow, what a relief to have a nice, manageable rule book, a book literally with just the rules in. Now, over on my blog, there's a link in the description below. I've got a little series of blog posts regarding the rules, going into some detail between the difference between 6th edition and obviously now 7th edition. Well, there doesn't actually say 7th edition on there, but you know, that's how it's being referred to. I haven't finished that series, I'm sort of halfway through it. But yeah, if you want to find out more about the rules and stuff in here, then go and check out my blog. It's called Reading 7th Edition. The series of posts is called Reading 7th Edition. Okay, so having a first initial look at this book, like you would normally do, basically a frantic flick of all the pages to find out the rules. And it's actually quite easy to spot that this is very much a copy and paste edition. There's obviously some new stuff in there, and there's some tweaks in there, but it's fair to say that on the whole there's big massive chunks of it which is just copy and paste. So yeah, the first few pages you've obviously got the index, introduction to the game, and then you have the core rules, which are all the standard stuff basically, about initiatives, etc. There is a new section rolling a D66, which I assume is from Apocalypse and stuff. I've not heard of it before, but so then I don't play those big games and stuff. But that's in there, along with excuse me, some rules about blast markers, which include now the apocalyptic markers. Going through that, characteristic tests, all the usual stuff in there. Line of sight, of course, still in there. And then you go on to the turn sequencing, all the basic stuff really. There's a coherency section about if you're in a building you can be 6 inches up vertically and still be in unit coherency. And when you move, say if you rolled a rough terrain test and you want to move up a building and you get a 6, you can move 3 inches across and then 3 inches up to the next level, just like the old Cities of Death stuff. And of course there's the new psychic phase, which I have to admit, from all the rumours and stuff that I saw, I thought this was going to be really complicated. It's not actually that complicated, it's pretty simple. I think it's going to work quite well, and I'll probably start my games with Necrons because then I don't have any psychic powers to worry about doing, and then just gradually move into it. But yeah, I think that this is going to work quite well. I'm not overly excited about the psychic phase. I mean, psychers isn't really my thing, to be honest with you. But I'm pleased that it's not actually as complicated as I thought it was going to be. Again, I've got quite fairly in-depth section on my blog about the psychic phase and about the rules and stuff, so if you're interested, go and check that out. Resolving the psychic phase, blah blah, that just goes through, as I said, all those rules. All the witch fires and stuff exactly the same as they were before, except there's now the new disciplines, which give them an advantage to Grey Knights and one to demons. Everyone else can take them, but you suffer perils much easier if you take those. And there is a Perils of the Warp chart somewhere, which basically you pretty much take a wound automatically, plus something else could happen depending on the chart. One of them is pretty good. I think you get vulnerable saves. Some psychic gains a 3+ and vulnerable save, not bad. But you still take a wound, of course. So that's the psychic disciplines. Then you go on to the shooting phase. Pretty much everything's the same for shooting. There's not a huge difference with anything there, really, to be fair. Going through, I'm not going to go through the whole book. As I said, I haven't even read the whole book yet, but I'll go through where I'm up to. There was one thing here, in the shooting phase, about going to ground. If you've gone to ground, you can't overwatch when you're assaulted. I can't remember if that was in the other rules or not, but yeah, I'm getting confused now. Going to ground, that's in there. Run, exactly the same as it was, and then you have the plethora of weapons there, which once again it's all pretty much the same. Which reminds me, rapid fire weapons. Yes, going back to the shooting phase, there is one reference to only being able to shoot models which are in range. So if you're rapid firing, which is only say a 12-inch rapid fire range, you can actually kill models within the 24-inch rather than the 12-inch. It just makes a reference to that. So even though you're only shooting 12 inches, you can actually kill people that are further away as long as they're in your standard weapons range. Assault phase, probably, well, not the biggest disappointment to me personally, but I think to a lot of people it's going to be the biggest disappointment. Basically, there's pretty much no change. It's almost exactly like it was. When you charge through terrain, you don't take the terrain test now. You just -2 from whatever roll that you get, which does mean that if you roll a double 1 through rough terrain, you fail to assault. Now my buddy is ace at throwing double 1 on his assault range. He's thrown double 1 so many times in 6th edition, and it's like he thought to himself, "Oh, I'm out of range." But now I was to say, no, it's 2 inches, and oh yeah, that's not bad. But now he will fail. So yeah, the assault phase. I mean, you've got challenges and all the usual stuff that were previously known. As I said, there isn't a huge difference there really in the assault phase. Then we go after the assault phase, multiple combats, morale. That's pretty much again as it was before. Can't see any difference. Then we go to unit types, and once again there aren't too many changes. Infantry, jet bikes, exactly the same as they were before, except, yeah, very bulky on jet bikes is actually listed on here now. Jinx saves exactly as rumoured, so you get 4+ jinx saves, but you can only snapshot the next turn. Artilleries, from what I can see, exactly the same. Same with jump infantry, that's the same. And jetpacks, they're exactly the same. Beasts are slightly different, they no longer have move through cover. Cavalry, monstrous creatures, the same. Obviously we know that smash has changed, only 1 attack now for smash. And what else was it? Raffle. Yeah, I think that's it. Flying monstrous creatures, bit of a big change there. So first of all, yes, vectored strike is now only 1 attack. Also, you have your flight modes as standard, but you are unable to assault if you change from one flight mode to another. In other words, if you're swooping and you go to gliding, you can't assault that turn. Now, having said that, if you get grounded in your opponent's turn, when you start the game, your class is being swooping. Your class is being gliding. So effectively, you can assault your turn as long as you don't swoop, which is quite good. Slightly better than being blown up from a vehicle and not being able to assault. So that doesn't sound as good, which is fair enough. Having said that, it is much more difficult to be grounded now. To take a grounding test, you have to basically take a wound rather than be hit, and you actually take the test at the end of that phase. So basically, that's quite good, because if you fail your test, nothing else can shoot at you, basically. Unlike previously, first unit shoots you, you fail your test, everything else shoots you normally. That's not the case now. Of course, you could be assaulted, but that sort of makes up a little bit for it. Swooping, then you've got the gargantuan and flying gargantuan creatures. I have to be honest, I've no reference to what those are. Never, as I said, I don't play big games, but there's a couple of extra rules for those. And then vehicles. Now this is where I've got up to in terms of reading. I can tell you that from flicking through, you are unable to assault from a vehicle exactly the same as it was before. Which actually reminds me as well, there is no massacre roll in the assault. There's no sweeping advance that lets you just basically roll into another unit once you've beat that unit, which I think we were hoping for, really. But there you go. Yeah, so as far as I can tell, it is more difficult to actually explode a tank. As I said, I've not really read this section thoroughly, but from what I can tell, it's more difficult to explode your tank. But hull points and stuff is exactly the same as it was before. But there's a new damage chart, and it is more difficult to explode. But who cares? I mean, we just glance vehicles to death anyway. So yeah, that's where I've got up to. As I said, I have had a flick and just a couple of point references. 5+ terrain, 5+ cover save for terrain as standard. There is stealth and shrouded, and it's only it's a +2 and a +1, but if you've got both of them, you only get +2 to your cover save. Night fight is slightly different. Now, if you want night fight, basically any player at the beginning of the game can say, yeah, I want to try and get night fight. If one player does, then you roll a dice, and on a 4+, it is night fight for the first turn. Otherwise, it just doesn't happen. And then if you are in night fight, every unit gets stealth. So basically, you just get a +1 to your cover save if night fight's up. So nothing too drastic there, really. Preparing for battle, which is just the usual stuff about choosing your army. I think everyone knows about the detachments and the force organisation charts, bound, unbound, etc, etc. It all sounds interesting. Obviously every unit pretty much can score apart from swooping. I think it's going to really change the dynamics of the game, and I'm actually looking forward to it. Now, you've probably been watching all my battle reports and noticed that pretty much all through 6th edition and all through 5th edition pretty much won every game. I mean, I've hardly lost, to be fair. Now, when it went back to 4th edition, there was loads and loads of draws. I mean, we were drawing pretty much every week. And the dynamics of every unit being able to score, stroke contest, well, unless you're unbound, of course, but score and contest, that's going to really change things up. I know my buddy really doesn't favour using troops, and if he does use troops, he generally uses them with his Blood Angels, like Death Company and stuff, that can't actually score anyway. So it's going to suit him, it's going to right up his street, and I foresee some tough games coming up with this book, which is good, which I'm really looking forward to. In terms of the missions, once again, I've had brief look, a flick look as such, there appears to be, if I can find them, 12 missions. Effectively there's 6 normal ones, and there's 6 ones using these cards. The deployments, you have got about the 3 deployments, and then there's the appendix, which is basically, did I say that right? Appendix. Yeah, there's the appendix, which effectively is where your special rules are, and as far as I can tell there isn't a huge change between them. As I said, I haven't read every single one, but preferred enemy, etc. Seems to be working as it was before. Little rules there: blast, deep strike mishap table, 1 terrible accident, 2-3 misplaced, 4-6 delayed. Pretty much all very similar, and as I said, there's a lot of copy and pasting going on here, but it is really great to have this book pretty much just with the rules in. Battlefield terrain, there we go. So you've got rules for all the battlefield terrain. This is the first time I've actually come across this. Shrine of Aquila, Manufactorum, etc, etc. Of course at the back you have the psychic powers. Talking of psychic powers, yes, it is true, if you have a mastery level of 1 and you take a discipline, you are able to use the Primaris power and the power that you roll. So if you have, say if you're a mastery level of 3 and you use exactly the same discipline for all 3 powers, you get the Primaris power for free, and then you get 3 powers that you roll separately. Now if you use more than 1 section, so if you say use telepathy and pyromancy, then you don't get the Primaris power for free. You however can elect to take it instead of a power that you roll. Interestingly, it notes that if you have the deck of cards for this, that you can just pick out your card rather than rolling a dice. Just read that, thought it was interesting. Not sure if that was in the other book or not, to be fair. So yeah, then of course there's the summary at the back. Yeah, so that is the book. I didn't really find any errors apart from one. I was looking up here a universal special rule and it was 2 pages out, but you expect things like that. Just a note at the back, the section that shows you all of the armies and what sort of characteristics they have, that is gone. Okay, so that is my very first unboxing and look at the book. That's exactly what I've done so far, just sharing it with you. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and hopefully you got something from it. And as I said, if you want to know more, then go and check out my blog, link in the description below. Thanks for watching.